Welcome to the dish. And my co-host. How are you, Luann?
Hey there, Mark. I'm doing great. How about
You were going to
yourself?
say, hey, Luann.
Yeah, I know. I was repeating you. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's Friday and I'm all zoned out from the Young and the Restless
Well,
episode, I
yeah.
guess.
And we all kind of watched the bowl. You and I and Terry and my other co-host
Hmm.
watched the bowl, and that was troubling today, the way that one ended up too. So,
Yeah, that cliffhanger with is Will the father or isn't he? It's like, but so now we have to wait until
yeah,
Monday.
now we got to wait all weekend. That bothers me a
Right.
lot.
I know. And then you're
Creates a lot of
traveling.
added stress in my life that I don't need.
It does. It sure does. Those important questions.
I know. Is Will the father or is he not?
Right, right. So
All
I
right.
suppose we should switch to the Young and the
Yeah, we better
Restless.
switch gears here because there was plenty going on our other soap, The Young and the Restless, as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Right.
So one of the most, I think, interesting storylines that's going on right now, because it hasn't been maybe quite as focal point,
Mm-hmm.
but is the Mariah story. And Sharon learned, since you and I last talked, that Mariah had tried to kill a man. At least that's what she
Mm-hmm.
remembers.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it was interesting listening to Tessa and Daniel explain to Sharon how they had gone to that hotel, got the
Hmm.
scoop on, what it kind of transpired that night. And so we found out this week that Mariah really didn't kill him, that he
Yeah.
felt threatened. So she had either lost control or something. And so Tessa brought it up, and we brought it up last week about Ian Ward.
Right.
And it was interesting how Tessa said that. She said, I wonder when she happened to be with this other gentleman if it brought on some memories of Ian. And she kind of
Flashback.
lost the flashbacks and lost control and was taking out her frustrations on this man, and he felt threatened enough and scared that he up and left the hotel. And so the other part that was interesting is Daniel said, "Hey, I think this guy might know, where Mariah lives, where she's from." But he said, "I don't think he's aware of you, Tessa, and the baby." So they were kind of wondering if that's why Mariah was kind of trying to keep her distance from Tessa, so that if this guy does come back for some retribution from Mariah, that she doesn't put Tessa and their little daughter in danger.
Sure.
So, but
I
yeah.
think there's more to it than that, though. But I can't quite
Mm-hmm.
put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like you said, Luann, we found out that the guy, whoever this guy is, he allegedly checked somebody he was seen checking out of the motel. So we don't think he's
Mm-hmm.
dead.
Mm-hmm.
That she,
No,
like you
no, he's
said, that
not
she
dead.
actually killed him. But
Right.
I just think there's more to it. I can't quite put my,
There has to be something
yeah.
more. Two things. Either that she doesn't want to put Tessa and their baby's life in danger, or
Hmm.
there's something more.
Seems
And
like it, yeah.
yeah, in next week's episode, I'm hoping Tessa will confront Mariah, and maybe Mariah will give provide some more details if she feels comfortable enough to do that with Tessa. I don't know if she will. She's been very hesitant to give any kind of information to
It
Tessa.
seems like, based on how troubled Mariah is here, that there's more
Hmm.
to it.
I
But
think so too,
yeah.
because you would think in that kind of situation, Mariah would just say, "Hey, I think I kind of lost it. I was with someone. It wasn't going well, and I lost. I started thinking of flashbacks of Ian, and I need some help, to get through this. And I know Mariah is seeing a psychologist, so we'll see. And I would hope that the psychologist is saying you have to confront your
Hmm.
fears or your issues. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens next week. But you did kind of see where Daniel was providing a lot of comfort to Tessa, and Tessa really appreciates his friendship. And she gave him, at first I thought it was going to be more than an
Yeah.
embrace, but she kept it, because she does love Mariah. But Daniel's mom, Phyllis, was pushing it more too. And it's like, Phyllis, back off. And Daniel's, he's a good son and he puts Phyllis in her place. And I give him credit because Phyllis would really drive me
She'd be a
crazy if I was
challenge
her
for a son
child.
or daughter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, she
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
She's provoked Summer and Daniel over the years.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
All right. So one of the other stories is Jill Abbott. She arrives back at the
Hmm.
ranch, uh, and Victor lets her have
Yes, yes, he
it.
really did. He and Nikki, and
And
when
Nikki,
she
yeah.
came, yeah, and when she came back, she went right over to Kane's house, and Billy happened to be there, and Billy was like, "So you come back to Genoa City, and the first person you see is Kane, not even your own son." So she had a round with them, and then she heads
Hmm.
over to Victor's, and
She's
Nikki
getting
and
it all.
her.
Yeah, she's getting it from everybody.
Yeah, her conversation with Nikki first went well, the
Yeah.
pleasantries, and
So,
then
yeah.
it
Yeah.
came then it came out and Nikki's like, I can't believe you're sporting Kane, and so that and then Victor comes home and kind of says the same thing, and he's like, we've got plans, that if you don't take care of it, I think they're all hoping that Jill could talk him out of Kane out of whatever he's doing. And you know, Jill Jill's hearing all of this firsthand too, what's kind of going on because, after she left Colin and Kane, she thought things were okay. And so now she's hearing, what Kane was planning to do with Abbott and with Newman's. And so, you know, they're filling her with a lot of information, and Jill feels a lot of allegiance to Kane. So
She
she
does.
really
She always has.
cares
Yeah.
about him. She always has.
Okay.
Hmm.
So one thing, Luann, is so the way that ended today was interesting because Adam and Chelsea and Kane comes over, and
Hmm.
they have this kind of powwow argument about the story that was released upon
Yes.
Kane.
And that was big news when
Yeah.
Adam was asking Victor, should I release the story? And he approved it. And
Yep.
as soon as it got out, I mean, all hell broke loose.
Yep.
Lily's coming over to Kane's, and
Yep.
Jill happened to be there. And that's when Jill was first hearing about all this. And then Kane is saying this isn't true, and so they all had it out. And then the next stop was for Kane was to see Chelsea and Adam,
Yep.
and he was threatening a lawsuit against them, and
Well, what's the other part is what I'm interested in too, even more so, is the
yeah,
I want to talk to Chelsea and I'm going to kind of basically give her an exclusive. And I'm
yes,
kind of thinking it's not going to bode well for the Newmans.
I'm thinking so too because even with that AI program that he's been threatening to use on them, and either he's going to come out with that and say something, you know, you thought it was bad before. I'm going to come after you because Jack really wanted him to give that AI software to him from Kane to Jack.
Yeah.
And when he and Diane were talking, Diane said, "You're going to destroy it, right?" And he said, "No, I don't think so. I'm going to use it against Victor." And she said, "Really?" And he said, "After all he's done to us over the years," he said, "Of course I am." And so he and Diane had a big kiss because they both agreed on it. And so
Wow.
I'm wondering if Billy will go back to Jack and somehow enlist his help in this, or is Kane going to, when he gives that exclusive interview with Chelsea, is he going to somehow say, I'm a changed person? I wasn't aware of this, because Jill still believes that, and I believe Kane too, that I don't think he was aware of what his dad Colin was doing with that rich lady that's now, he's got the chateau from. I don't think he knew what his dad was doing.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what his exclusive news will be.
Well, the thing I wondered, I should ask you this, what your thoughts are, because was he not, when he had cameras on everybody for a while there, uh, I think he gained some dirt on people. Uh, and part of that was when
Oh.
they were at the chateau. Remember, he had all those cameras everywhere
Mm-hmm.
and he's
Mm-hmm.
recording everything. But I'm kind of thinking that he was listening to other conversations as well, maybe. But
Could
uh,
be. And
that he's
you're
got some
thinking
dirt. He's got some really significant dirt on the Newmans, I think.
like blackmail to
Yeah,
blackmail them. Yeah,
yeah,
could be.
something that could really,
Depending.
do some damage.
Hmm. Yeah, because this was all in a secured area where he could do what he wanted, and he did have those cameras around because he was watching a lot of them on that monitor
Now, if you go
at different
back
times.
historically, Luann, I mean, I can't remember Victor specifically as far as if he murdered anybody or not. Probably. But I'm
Mm.
trying to
Oh,
think
I'd
of
have
back in
to
the
go back.
day. I remember Nick, the son, remember, this goes back 20 some years ago, probably,
Hmm.
killed, wasn't it his girlfriend? He was drunk or something, and then Victor got him out of it.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sure he did.
yeah.
I can't remember that incident, but
I
you
remember
know,
them talking about it in the last few years. And then I was like, oh,
hmm
yeah, it just kind of triggered that
hmm
for me that I
hmm
remembered that.
you,
But
and in our soaps that always seems to happen. And there were other things that have happened where
yeah, yeah.
even with Adam, that he always gets them out of it somehow. Yeah,
The man's got a
go
hell
to
of a lot of power in Genoa City, Wisconsin.
yeah, he sure does. He does.
All right.
Yes,
So
he
let's move
does.
on to the next one. So, I like the scene today. Loren and Michael got into
Yes.
it big time today at the bar. That was a pretty. I thought that was a good scene. I
Oh,
like Loren and Michael, so I like
I
Michael's
do too.
character.
I do too. And they complement each other very
They do.
well. And they're both type A personalities and they come
Yeah,
back and forth at each other.
yeah,
And Danny and Cricket were playing the mediators and helping
yeah,
them,
yeah.
and, but yeah, because Lauren was pissed at Michael
Oh
for,
yeah.
going behind her back. One, she thought it was going to be with Victor, that he was going back to him. But then when it was Kane, that's even worse
Worse.
for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think at the end they worked everything out, which is good. And then as you're going into the next part, when they all did their toast at the end, they had a big question for Michael if
Yeah.
he would officiate their
Yeah.
wedding, and then Cricket asked Lauren to be her matron of honor. So they were just honored to be a part of the
Oh,
wedding.
it was such a kumbaya moment.
Yeah, it was very good, Mike. That's what it
It
was.
was. I
They,
love
they,
it.
they just felt the love.
It was just a bonding moment on our soap. I love
Yes, yes, it was.
it. All right. Uh, so Nick, did I miss? I wanted to ask you this because I missed a little bit of last week, and so has Nick? What's been his involvement? Nick Newman. Okay, we lost you for a second, Luann, but we
Yes,
got you back. We were talking
yes.
about Nick Newman and kind of the history there, or we're just thinking that something. I was kind of saying that I think that uh, uh, Kane has got something on him, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what he maybe does have on them. If that comes up next week. I'm
Yeah,
hoping in the previews, but I think according to the previews, Nick is going to have his hands full next week with other issues to
yeah,
be thinking about.
yeah. I saw that too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel and Tessa and Mariah, we've talked a little bit about this
Hmm.
already, but the only other thing I was going to mention about that is that I what do you think about is he I know you said you had mentioned that Phyllis was kind of trying to be nosy about what Daniel's relationship was with her.
Yes.
I think they're going to end up together.
I think
I
they
do.
will. Yeah, because I still think next week when, Tessa approaches Mariah, I think Mariah is still going to be distant from her, and not
Yeah,
share everything. And
yeah,
at some point, Tessa is going to say, what the heck is going on? Do you want to be with me or don't you want to be with me? And at some point, I think it will be when Mariah or Tessa feels like there's not more, there's no way of saving her marriage, or she's feeling very down, and Daniel's going to be there at the right moment comforting her, and they hug and embrace, and then they look at each other, and then they feel something more. So
Romantic.
yes, I know.
Luann, you should write Hallmark. You should make Hallmark.
Yeah, I've seen too many Hallmark movies and
You
read too
do.
many love stories, but I think that's what will happen. And Daniel, he feels a very strong friendship, and Phyllis was trying to say, well, you're the third wheel in this relationship, and he said, no, I'm a good friend.
I'm a
You
friend.
know,
What she is. Yeah.
Yes, he is, and I think he's feeling like, hey, I don't think I'm ready for this yet. After my wife died, but at some point he will. Because Tessa's feeling more than just a friend.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I just kind of was thinking about that. That's kind of a weird deal, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
We've already talked about number 8, which is what is Kane going to talk about with
Yes,
Chelsea,
and
unless you want to speculate further.
No, no, I think we kind of shared both ways.
Okay.
Either he's going to be talking about how you thought it was bad now and you're worrying. I'm going to actually initiate the whole thing and
Right.
then see where you stand. Or is he going to still try to save whatever relationship he has with his children that could be saved? And with Lily, I think he needs to be more concerned about his children, because with this news article coming out by the Newmans, that's going to really alienate him from his children. And Lily brought on some good arguments when she was talking with him. He wasn't thinking clearly on this, and he should have been preparing them all for what might happen. She said, you should have known that Victor would go through with this.
No
And
kidding. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
because Victor threatens, but Victor will go through with it. Mm-hmm.
Right. He will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it'll be interesting because if they published what they published, and Jack was shocked because Jill happened to visit him today, and Jack was shocked that Victor used this, and he said it shouldn't surprise me that he did, but he said there could be a whole different outcome now because of what Victor just did,
Mhm.
and that sending their companies down the tubes, because who knows how Kane is going to react. But
You
the
poke the bear.
poke the bear, right? Because up to this point, really Kane hadn't really done anything, and that's what Kane kept saying to Jill. They all are talking about this, but I really haven't done anything. It's been all talk and no action. So now will he come through with that? It'll be interesting to see.
But I'm trying to remember, how did the word get out initially that the AI that he had that AI program? I'm trying to
Uh,
remember how that went.
yes, I'm thinking somehow he started
But,
sharing it with Billy and
yeah.
Phyllis
So he
when
put it out there.
he
I
put it
mean,
out there. Yeah, and then once I think Billy got his, he found out about it. He made it into something more, that he found out that I think he wanted to use it against Newman. He wanted to save Abbott. He wanted to use it against Newman.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Kane realized he couldn't trust Billy, so he was out. And he still, like in today's episode, he still wants Phyllis to, go, are you still on my team? He's saying, after reading this news release, are you still with me? And Phyllis said, yes. But the good question is, do you know too? I have no clue what Phyllis does for Kane or with him. What her job is.
She's an IT specialist.
She's the IT specialist. Okay. We'll
But
see.
she's the one that breaks into everybody's
Software
their
files.
software and their hard drive
Yeah. So we'll
files.
see if Phyllis comes through on this, because that's the only reason I could think why he summoned her to his place to come immediately.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, great. All
Uh-huh.
right. Other thoughts, comments, or predictions?
Okay, well, in the previews, we are starting to see that new lady that's a mysterious lady from the past that she has connections with some of the people from Genoa City, and her name is Sienna. And in some of the previews today, you saw her interacting with Holden, and Claire was sitting there with Holden, and she says, "Hey, this is a better girl than." The one you used to have. Her name was Audrey or Audra, and
Oh,
yeah, so
I didn't
so
see
I
that.
thought, oh, okay, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with her character and what interaction if it's Holden that is she's connected with, that means Audra might also be in the picture. So that might draw something with a whole different storyline with Holden, Audra, and this Sienna. So that'll be interesting. And then it sounds like, or look like in the previews, that Kyle is drilling Victoria for where is Claire staying in California. So I have a feeling Kyle is going to make a surprise appearance out there. And then another scene was Sharon calling Nick, crying and frantic that Noah was in a car accident because um, Nick and Sharon were supposed to be going together to check on Noah because he was having some issues or problems out in California, or he's starting up a new nightclub there. I think that was kind of the premise. But now he's in a bad accident, and so Nick is going to feel, because Big Daddy Victor said, I want all of you kids to stay here. I don't want you heading to California, Nick. This is where you belong. And Nick is saying, why do I have to stay here? Adam, you've got this under control. And Adam is saying, well, Dad asked you to stay, so I guess he wants you here. So this is going to be enough that where I think, and I would hope Victor will say, yes, you need to head to California because you could be of more use there. So next week's storyline should be interesting. And Claire had a whole different look. I mean, she was wearing more makeup today, so it's like a new woman out there in California. So should be some interesting stories.
What do you think will happen out? What do you think will happen out in California? I mean,
Oh,
with Holden and Claire, do you think is he gonna put the moves on her? Is he gonna do anything? What do you
yeah,
think?
I think yes, I think he's going to, now she's in his territory, and I think he's going to try to put some moves on her, especially if Kyle hasn't arrived yet. And
Ah,
and then, will, perhaps they're both staying at the same hotel. And will that be where Kyle shows up and surprises her, and then the surprise is on Kyle because she's with Holden. We'll see. Claire has a good head on her shoulders, so we'll see if she gives in to temptation. Will she be, or will she? I don't know. Because there's a little spark between her and Holden, and Kyle's not ready. Yeah, he is. He's a player. That's right. You've always been saying that.
yeah, he's a
And
player.
and Kyle is he's not ready to give up yet on Claire. He really does love her. And
I'm
and
not a
I
big Kyle fan usually, but in this case I'm cheering for
yeah,
Kyle and Claire.
yes. And I think Claire just wants to play the field a little bit more before she makes that commitment, because I know she loves and cares for Kyle, but I think with that whole Audra thing, the trust, she's having to heal. And maybe she'll realize, oh, things weren't so bad with Kyle. He did, was good to
Sure.
me. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right.
Hmm.
I think we kind of covered what would Luann do, or what would, unless you
Right.
want to
Yes.
add anything
No,
to.
no, that's
Okay.
good. That's good. And I think, like we said, there's going to be some good information coming out in some of those episodes next
Yeah.
week. If, what will Kane talk about with Chelsea, and will Noah be hurt badly, or what's going to
What's going
happen?
on there?
What's
Yeah.
going on out there? So, and then what will happen with the Claire Holden, um, Kyle triangle?
It's going to be a really restless weekend at my
Yes,
house.
yes, it is.
between the bold and the young and the restless.
We need those answers, so we have to wait until
Oh,
Monday.
yeah, I know. It's terrible. All right. Uh, that's all I got.
That's all I have too,
Oh,
and you have a great weekend, and
thank
to
you.
all of our viewers, you have a great weekend, and we'll be ready for some more Young and Restless.
Yep. Hopefully, we'll have some big news next time we podcast. Until we
Right.
dish again, keep it sudsy,
Oh yeah.
and we're out.